Well, guys, it is a sad day to be a wizard or a barbarian in Diablo Immortal. That's right. Those two classes were just nerfed and pretty meta impacting. At least for the wizard, I'm less familiar with the barbarian, but the wizard meta for PvP just got shaken up a little bit with some of these nerfs. But let's jump into the rest of it because we're also going to talk about the brand new tournament that just came to the game, or it will be coming to the game, as well as new essences. Now, it's very important that I call out that we will also, I told you guys last week that we were going to be doing it this week. So tonight, Monday, the 11th, around my normal stream time, 9:30, whatever time I get the kids to bed and I'm done with the gym and all that, we will be doing a class auction. Now, this is very impactful because the class auction will directly impact not only the new essences that I get to farm for first, but will also impact the class that I play in this new PvP tournament. All right. So you guys get to pick the class that I'll be using in this tournament because I'm not going to be changing until the tournament is done because that's going to be the reward for this. So let's jump into the rest of the patch notes. Here is the rise to the top in the Bout of Realms. This is this like 5-day long event. It's gonna be super fun though. So it's in the Tower War PvP. So it's 8v8. A lot of people are making their teams already. So from August 18th to the 20th, 9:30 and 10 p.m., which is perfect for me actually. And there'll be 15 total matches for prelims. These take place on the days, each day in the local server time and the blah, blah, blah. And then this is 5 days of 3 back-to-back battles. So be prepared before you commit yourself to a team. Your party will be counting on you. 3 points for a win, 1 point for a loss, 0 points for a forfeit. And then it goes into all the other things that goes on. The rewards are actually pretty sick, at least for the top. You get this permanent cloak for the top 3, which is honestly really badass. I think this is a really cool addition. It's been leaked. I think it's like a reddish black cloak. I think it's really awesome that you're going to be getting something permanent from PvP that you can flex. And I think this is a really cool addition to the game. It goes sort of in tandem with the Immortal Cloak, which is also relatively free to play friendly, as you can get into one of those Immortal alliances and get the cloaks if you are in a very competitive alliance that can maintain and get enough of those blessed reigns. But this one is again a little different because it does come from PvP. I like it though. I think this is a huge addition to the game. It also sort of inches us into a esports type of situation, but that's a video for a different time because there's obviously a lot of pay to win in Wales that, there's a lot of different things in there. But other games that are pay to win have other esports aspects. So this could be something new for Diablo Immortal. Wearing the hat to represent. Let's get back to it. So that's the tournament. I'm not going to go into it too much further. The new affixes. Now, these are very important if you are going to be taking part in my new class auction tonight at 9:30 Eastern time, because again, these are the new affixes that I'll be farming for. So Barbarian, offhand. Wrath of Berserker now increases your movement speed and greatly reduces damage taken and reduces the duration of loss of control. That's an offhand. Chest. Chain Spear now empowers you to counterattack with spears when you take damage, pulling in enemies. All right, so the Helm, Demoralize, now empowers you to counterattack with a roar when you take damage, reducing enemy attack speed. All right, Shoulders, Wrath of Berserker also reduces damage taken. All right, Pants, Chain Spear also heals you for a percentage of the damage it's done. That has some interesting implications. I don't know how it directly impacts the pants slot for barbarians, but the idea of Chain Spear healing you feels pretty good, especially in PvP. All right, Main Hand, Demoralize deals damage. It also reduces an enemy's damage for a limited time up to a maximum of an unknown number. Blood Knight. Pants, Abomination, gains additional skill, Blood Mirage. Blood Mirage consumes your life to conjure an illusion of yourself that mimics your primary attack. Interesting. Shoulders, Abomination no longer consumes anger to transform, and its primary attacks now consume life to throw globs of gore at enemies. Okay, so in theory, you can stay in Abomination until you're dead, essentially, which, sure, makes sense. I think that was the original intent by design, like when the Blood Knight first came out, so I kind of like that. Main Hand, Abomination also increases your attack speed by a percentage of maximum life loss, up to a maximum buff for increased attack speed. Interesting. So these obviously go hand in hand. You're going to be doing primary attack damage, but losing life, and as you lose life, you'll be increasing your attack speed. Interesting. Transfusion, this is a Helm. Transfusion shields also increase your life drain by a percentage. Okay, so you're getting a life drain effect from your transfusion shields. So basically healing yourself. Offhand, Abomination primary attacks have a chance to trigger a Bloody Claw that deals additional damage. The Bloody Claw chance to trigger increases your remaining life, increases as your remaining life decreases up to a maximum. Okay? So again, you're now doing more damage or have a chance to deal more damage with your primary attacks. And a bigger chance the less life you have left. All right, Chest. Transfusion now grants you a shield, and while it remains active, all life drain restores the absorbed value of the shield instead of healing you. That's interesting. So again, a lot of like playing with your health bar for Blood Knight. I didn't give like a high level summary of Barbarian. I think this has a lot of really good implications for existing essences. So that's why, and I'm not as familiar with the Barbarian in depth when it comes to like, oh yeah, this offhand will pair really well with this main hand or like stuff like that for the Barbarian. But altogether, I think these new essences are just overall good for the Barb. Blood Knight, though, this feels like an intended build that you're going to use, and I think this could be really good for PvE. Because obviously you're not going to want a PvP build that basically consumes your life where you could just get like dotted and blown up really quickly. But this could be a really good PvE build focused around primary attack. And I think the Blood Knight is a class that desperately needs a really good high damage PvE build. So that excites me. Crusader. So shoulders, chained. Sacred Chain now empowers you for a limited time, during which holy links will form between you and nearby enemies, continuously damaging them. Okay, so you get a bit of a dot there. Condemn Chest Piece now empowers you, causing lightning to strike enemies after they are attacked a few times. Not very clear in terms of that description, but I think we get what they're going for. Pants Sacred Chain also dispels enemy dash skills for a limited time. Interesting. Wow. Disables enemy dash skills. So just a straight up counter to Tempest and other classes, but mainly Tempest. Main hand, Sweep Attack now swings 2 mystical chains towards each enemy in an arc, gathering enemies in the middle and stunning them. So it's literally just swinging them together and then stunning them. Good CC for PvP. Helm, when Sacred Chains damages an enemy multiple times within a limited time, they are dealt additional damage. Okay. Condemn also reduces enemy movement speed. All right. I mean, again, I think there are, similar to the Barbarian, there are good pieces of this that are going to be good for the Crusader. I don't think this is a holistic build that we're getting provided, but again, I think this is a good addition. A lot of these are really good addition to existing builds. And you can kind of see where Blizzard feels like classes are kind of balanced, because you're not getting a whole build added in with these new essences. Instead, you are getting just pieces that you can then piece together with other builds. Whereas the Blood Knight is sort of, like I said, fixing a issue, which was essentially the fact that it needed PvE damage for a single target. So makes sense to me. Demon Hunter. Smokescreen also increases, this is a main hand. Smokescreen also increases your attack speed for a limited time. Okay, pretty straightforward. Chest Piece, also buffing Smokescreen, now empowers you to launch grenades at nearby enemies as you move. Dash skills have a reduced distance required to trigger grenades. Interesting. This is giving PvP vibes. Daring Swing cooldown is reduced by seconds for each enemy it hits, up to a maximum duration. Okay. Pants Spinning Crackrum, or whatever, however the hell you say that, also applies a mark for a limited time when it hits an enemy. When marked enemies are hit multiple times, they are dealt additional damage. Cannot trigger more often than once every few seconds on the same enemy. Okay. Shoulders. Daring Swing now fires a hook in a direction that locks onto the ground and then pulls you along its path, damaging enemies and making you immune to knockback and loss of control as you travel. So this is basically you jump, right? Jumping. Fires a hook. So you're, no, well, maybe not. You're just firing a hook that pulls you. So, okay. It's a different way of doing Daring Swing. I kind of like that. I like that. I like the adjustment there. Keys is going to have a great time with this. I can already tell. Shout out Keys. Spinning, whatever, now empowers you to launch whatever's at nearby enemies as you move. Dash skills have a reduced distance for movement. Okay, so a lot of movement, a lot of, again, just overall fun things for the Demon Hunter. I feel like that's as you would expect for the Demon Hunter. It's not a bad spot, but it does give you more flexibility in some of your builds. Druid. Desperately need some Druid build. Whoa. Wait, what? We're getting double Druid. Okay. So Pants, rare Rend and Tear, Werewolf, also increases your life drain against enemies hit for a limited time, stacking up to a maximum. Raven Swarm now empowers you, causing your primary attack skills to conjure ravens that automatically attack enemies who are blinded when ravens hit them multiple times. Okay, you blind them after you hit them multiple times, but it does increase your primary attack damage, it sounds like. Pretty cool. Shoulders, so that was a main hand. Raven Swarm also generates primal power when it hits an enemy, but this cannot occur more often than once every so often. Lol. That's super in-depth there. All right, so obviously these shoulders and main hand are going to go really well together for a primary attack build, which I guess we didn't really have for the Druid, so that's interesting. Chest, while a werewolf, you gain additional life against enemies below 50% life. Oh, you gain additional life drain against enemies. Okay, I was like, feel like we already had an essence that gave us more damage, like an execute. That makes sense. All right, so the helmet lunge now causes you to flicker out of sight, becoming untargetable as you dash forward, damaging enemies along your path. Lunge can be used multiple times in quick succession. Wow. So this is giving you an iframe or an untargetable frame, and you can use it multiple times. That's interesting. I'm assuming it's probably 2 or 3, but either way, that feels pretty good for a helmet for escapability. Helmet's also one of the ones that, at least current essence-wise, there's some flexibility there, and this could just be generally used all the time. So I like that. Offhand, Rend and Tear. Werewolf is now a series of slashing claw attacks that damage and stun enemies. Using other skills beforehand increases the number of attacks. Okay. Interesting. So you're almost building up how much damage you're going to do. All right, so you're getting a little bit of werewolf buff action here for PvP, it sounds like. I like it. So now we're getting even more Druid affixes. Shoulders, transforming you into a werewolf, increases your evasion rating for a few seconds for every primary power you currently have, up to a maximum. Okay. Main hand, summon wolves, also weaken nearby enemies, increases the damage they take from you. Very good for PvE. Very good. Thorn armor, offhand. Damage also shatters enemy armor, increasing the critical hit damage they take for a limited time, up to a maximum. That's also really good. Chest, Rapid Might also causes primary attacks to deal additional damage equal to the percentage of your maximum life. Whoa, that is going to be sick for the bear. Because like you're just going to have Rapid Might already, but then it's also going to cause your primary attacks to deal damage. Like the bear already does a ton of damage in PvP. This is a really good chest piece. I don't remember what you're going to be losing for the chest though with this one, but again, I like that a lot. Pants, activating Summon Oak increases the damage of your summons for a limited time for each active summon upon up to a max. Okay, so nice little buff to the summons build for the Druid. Helm, Werewolf Howl also applies fear to enemies. Enemies below a percentage of life are feared for a limited time, cannot fear the same enemy more often than once every few seconds. Okay. Overall, this feels pretty good. A lot of different flexibility to the Druid. You're getting double the amount of essences you are with any other class, which also feels pretty sick. Monk, main hand. When Wave Strike damages the same enemy several times within a few seconds, it also stuns them for a limited duration. Cannot occur on the same often more than every few seconds. Okay. So stun with Wave Strike. All right, so Breath of Heaven now conjures a runic circle that follows you, granting shields to you and your allies within that increase in absorb value for each ally present. So as you are stacked together, you get more shields. Interesting. Okay, that feels really good. Chest, Inner Sanctuary also increases your attack speed for a limited time, increasing for each nearby ally up to a maximum count. All right. Helm, Inner Sanctuary now conjures a runic circle that follows you, increasing the damage dealt by you and your allies within, increasing the... Oh, wow. So this is just a straight up support monk where you can give shields and damage just by being near them. That's really, really cool. I like that a lot. So it's Breath of the Heaven and Inner Sanctuary that's doing it. Shoulders, beneficial effect from Breath of the Heaven also reduces critical hit damage taken for a limited time. Wow. So as you are within this shielded area, you also get reduced damage from critical hits. Support monk in PvP. Wave Strike now slams the ground to unleash a damaging wave that reverberates off nearby allies to deal additional damage to enemies. That one's interesting. Okay, monk sounds super fun in PvP from an assist standpoint. Pretty cool, actually. All right, Necromancer. Helm, skeletal mages empower you when destroyed, increasing your damage for a limited time, stacking up to a maximum. Dark Curse Pants, now conjure a field of despair at a target location that continuously damages enemies and applying a stacking slow. After several stacks, the enemy will be feared. Interesting. Okay, offhand, Bone Spirits now conjure a font of soul fire at a target location that will attack an enemy that approaches, exploding on impact, damage, and fear nearby enemies. Okay. Main hand, Corpse Explosion critical hit chance increased. All right. Chest, Dark Curse also disables enemy dash skills for a limited time. Okay. Corpse Explosion no longer consumes corpses and instead consumes the fear on nearby enemies to conjure spirits that seek out and target, damaging any that they touch. The spirits prioritize seeking out feared enemies, consuming it to conjure more spirits. Oh, wow. So the more feared enemies, the more your Corpse Explosion will just continue to like shatter and damage out. That's actually really cool. That could be fun. Okay. A few more. So Tempest. Offhand, crosswinds now empower you, causing your next primary attack to unleash a fury of piercing wind blades that shatter enemy armor, increasing the damage you deal to them. Don't we have something like that for that already? Either way, okay, that's really, really good for one offhand. Helm, Rolling Surf also increases the damage of the next couple primary attacks within a few seconds. Okay, Rolling Surf empowers your next few primary attacks. This is a main hand to fire backbreaker bolts that progressively deal increased damage if they keep hitting the same enemy from behind. Interesting. Okay. Helm, Crosswinds also increase your primary attack speed for a limited duration. Okay. Chest, Flowing Strike now causes you to dash forward, damaging enemies in your path. If an enemy player is hit, they will be forced to turn their back onto you, immobilizing them. Oh, wow. So this is literally going to make it so you dash forward, and if you hit someone, they turn, and then you get all this burst damage. Oh, my God. The Tempest is going to be so godly. That's sick. Like, you're literally you're CCing them, turning them around, and then can do so much damage. Oh my God, that's actually so cool. Submerge and Shock. Shoulders, Flowing Strike also increases your critical hit chance for a limited duration. Boy, howdy. Oh my God. Okay, so obviously this is very PvP centric, as that's sort of the Tempest MO, but my God, this Flowing Strike is nutty. Again, powering it with increasing critical hit chance for a limited time. The burst window for a Tempest, like they're, I mean, probably at a pretty open range of resonance. You're going to be able to just blow people up. Wow. Okay, Tempest seems super fun in PvP. All right, Wizard, which is nerfed, or incoming nerf. Binding Forces, Pants. Meteor now empowers you, during which you can call huge meteors to fall at a target location. So it empowers you, but then you can also call down meteors. That's weirdly worded. I don't understand that one. Shoulders. Meteor also pulls in nearby enemies at the location it deals damage. Okay. Ice Armor now grants you invisibility, only revealing you if an enemy gets close. That's, depending on how close they need to get, that has some interesting, and it's an offhand. I like offhands and main hands like this because we can get two of them, so it's not insanely detrimental to like a head, chest, or one of those pieces where you only get one slot of them. But like, because we do get two offhands, two main hands, like this is interesting. All right, main hand. Slow time also increases your skill damage for a limited duration. This is going to be really good for any raid build for the Wizard. So the Wizard just got even stronger for their raid build because this can go hand in hand with the I forgot the name of it, but the headpiece that we all use. That's going to be really sick. Helm, slow time now unleashes a burst of temporal energy at a target location, damaging enemies, reducing their movement speed, and disabling their dash skills. You deal increased damage to these affected enemies. Okay. Ice Armor also increases skill damage. There it is. Okay, I was wondering how that would come into play. So basically, if you use the chest piece and the offhand, where you grant invisibility, it's also increasing your skill damage. So as you come out of invisibility, again, you get a pretty big burst window of just blowing somebody up. So it's going to be interesting how you tailor that with certain builds in PvP. I don't think that this meteor change is going to be it based off how it's worded. But again, I think this is actually going to be super sick for certain build burst windows. So let's see how that plays out and how we can play with it. But that's interesting. All right, so that's it for all the new essences. This is the roll the die and gambler's toil. This is just the log in and do the things to get more reward type of events. Balance changes. So the barb nerf. So terror unburdened, demoralized. The beneficial effect provided by demoralized will now be disabled when the uncontrollable state is interrupted by another skill. Instead of breaking the interaction entirely, we are disabling the beneficial benefits provided by terror unburdened when you have control of your character. The benefits of damage reduction, immune to knockback, and were all meant to counteract that you can't control your character. Considering that you can control your character, these effects will be removed in this instance. It actually doesn't feel as bad as I thought it was going to be. So this is for like that AI barb build, which is actually super fun to play. So basically, if you are interrupted and gain control for whatever reason of your character, you lose those beneficial effects, which again makes sense. It's intended to be basically fully AI, where you're just like, you know what I mean? All right, Druid. Werebear and Werewolf baseline transforms can now trigger while under the effects of total loss of control and knockback, and now drains 4 primal energy instead of 5. This is good. We heard the feedback that maintaining transformation time was one of the most frustrating aspects of the Druid class, so we are lowering the primal cost to allow you to remain in forms longer. Additionally, we recognize the frustration of not being able to transform when suffering control CC effects, or your transformations begin interrupted by them. So you should now be able to transform more freely. I like this. Wizard. This is the big nerf. All right, so Coat of Astrum, Lightning Nova. Lightning Nova projectiles will now disappear when the wizard dies. That one makes sense. Lightning Nova projectiles will now prefer staying closer to the wizard. This is a pretty massive nerf for this chess piece, because this is the one where with the new meta build in both dungeons and in raids, in PvP, you can literally just get a ton of these Lightning Novas flying around you, and then they will basically, like, if you just get anywhere near someone, they will attack. Now, again, you could say that's broken, and some of it is because of the new set gear, which was also nerfed. We'll get to that in a second. But again, this is really impacting that build. So now it's going to turn more into a battle wizard build, because currently you could teeter-totter on the edge of battle and not get fully engaged, because you're still a wizard. You're still super squishy. But now it's going to require you to get a lot closer. So Lightning Nova damage deals reduced damage to enemies further away from the wizard. Again, basically making it a battle mage build, which we can figure out ways of making it work, but it's probably just going to completely destroy the builds, realistically. The Wild Arcing Lightning Nova provided by this affix was too dominant, especially given the introduction of the new Skybreaker set. The range of the effects made it difficult for enemies to fight wizard characters, and even if you killed them, their Lightning Nova would still persist and still kill you. Not always, to be clear, but it would happen occasionally. These changes are aimed to force wizards into more dangerous situations to maintain pressure and keep up the high damage. We will continue to monitor other synergies of this build after these changes have gone live to see if further adjustments can be made. Jesus. Again, this is more or less breaking the build. Like this build is dead. And I'm not usually one to give like that sort of casting like indefinite judgment, but like it's chalked. The existing build has close to 0 defensibility, and if you're forcing the wizards to get close, like they're just gonna die. Which again, I'm not saying that it was just a nice build for the wizard. I'm not saying it was broken. I agree that it should have died, like the first part here where it says the Lightning Nova should disappear when the wizard dies. I'm not disputing that at all. That makes total sense. But the rest of this is rough, and this is really gonna, like I said, just completely destroy the build in tandem with what I'm getting ready to show you right here. So set piece, Skybreaker's Bolt 2 set bonus. If an enemy suffers from this effect, again, within the 6-second cooldown, the duration will be reduced. Multiple characters running this set effect led to 100% uptime, providing excessive value to other players. So to counter this, the effect will now have its own diminishing returns within the 6-second window. Again, between the set bonus nerf of 2 set and then this were nerf to the chess piece, that's pretty dramatically going to impact it. Again, I'm not saying that wizard didn't be changed. I think this would have been plenty, but these two in tandem with this is going to delete the build. There's several other good builds available to the wizard, and myself and other wizards would definitely come to other builds to show you guys, but definitely sucks. All right, featured updates. I don't really understand this. So the set bonus UI updates is showing you, I guess, what what your effects are. So which set pieces you have and where they are. The equipment power interface has been tweaked to provide a snapshot of all equipped set items, ability to glance. If you prefer the expanded view, you can still access it by selecting the see all. Okay, like again, it's good to have. This is their touch to try to fix AFK farming. So to help AFK farming, we reintroduced the acid pits that spawn and kill players if too much time is spent away from the keyboard. Makes sense. Blood Knight transformation skill remapping. We've introduced the ability to remap your secondary skills when using the Blood Knight abomination. Previously, your secondary skills, which only became available when using the Blood Knight's transformation, were unable to be remapped to your inputs of choice. You can now remap these sub-skills through the skill book UI. I like this. The function was recently released for the Druid, so they're being retroactively applied to the Blood Knight. I was going to say, like, it was nice to have for the Druid, but it's also really, really good to have for this as well. Familiar swap button chains. We've added a button with the familiar UI that you can quickly swap a bonded familiar into the companion slot. Select a bonded familiar and click the cross swords next to remove to swap it. Okay, cool. Loyalty bonus, reset timer optimization. Loyalty points will now be reset by converted into legacy, blah, blah, blah. When we introduce the new legendary equipment instead of when the server reaches the server paragon level new difficulty. Interesting. Okay. Different. All right, season 14 challenge rifts. Now it's the top 3 players instead of just the first one. We like that. Damage changes in Inferno 1 through 6. We are lowering the damage for the open world, hidden layers, Heliquare bosses, and normal dungeons for Inferno 1 through 6 by about 20%. Again, overall, pretty good update. I like it a lot. Sorry, there's a longer video than I intended, but there was a lot of really good essences. And like I said, we will be doing a class change auction later tonight on my live stream. If you want to control my fate in the bout of realms and what new essences I'll be making builds for, then make sure you tune in tonight around 9:30 Eastern time, give or take, and we'll be doing just that. So hope to see you guys there. See you guys later. Love you. Bye.